My friends, life is full of relationships. Some bring us joy, some bring us lessons, and some bring us pain. But one of the hardest decisions we ever face is knowing when to walk away. As Stoics, we understand that holding on to something that no longer serves us is a source of unnecessary suffering. True wisdom is knowing when to let go, and true strength is having the courage to do so. A relationship should be a place of mutual growth, respect and peace. If it becomes a source of constant conflict, stress, or emotional drain, then it is no longer a relationship. It is a chain. And chains are meant to be broken when they keep us from living a virtuous life. Epictetus reminds us that we control our own actions, not the actions of others. We can give love, patience and kindness, but we cannot force another person to reciprocate. If a relationship is built on conditions we cannot change, then the rational choice is to release it. Seneca teaches us that time is our most precious resource. Every moment we spend trying to fix something that is beyond our control is a moment lost forever. Ask yourself, is this relationship adding value to my life, or is it stealing time that could be spent on something more meaningful? Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us to act in accordance with nature. Everything in life is transient. People change, circumstances evolve, and what was once right for us may no longer be so. Clinging to something simply because it once made sense is a form of attachment that leads to suffering. Walking away is not an act of weakness, it is an act of wisdom. It is choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and virtue over attachment. A Stoic does not act out of emotion, but out of reason. When we see that a relationship no longer aligns with our values or our peace of mind, we must have the discipline to move forward. Here are key signs to remember when deciding to walk away from a relationship. A healthy relationship should be a source of strength, support and encouragement. It should uplift you, challenge you to grow, and provide a sense of security. However, when a relationship becomes a constant drain, emotionally, mentally, or even physically, it is no longer serving its purpose. Think about how you feel after interacting with this person. Do you feel energized, understood and supported, or do you feel exhausted, anxious, and emotionally depleted? If the relationship consistently leaves you feeling empty rather than fulfilled, it is a sign that something is fundamentally wrong. A draining relationship often involves one-sided effort. You may find yourself constantly giving your time, your energy, your patience, while receiving little to nothing in return. It may feel as if you are walking on eggshells, trying to maintain peace, while the other person contributes little to the stability of the relationship. Over time, this imbalance can take a serious toll on your mental well-being. Additionally, relationships that drain you may be filled with negativity, constant criticism, arguments, emotional manipulation, or a lack of appreciation. Instead of being a place of mutual respect and support, the relationship becomes a source of stress, insecurity, and self-doubt. A Stoic understands that suffering comes from attachment to things that no longer serve us. If a relationship is causing more harm than good, then clinging to it is an act of self-inflicted suffering. Letting go does not mean you do not care. It means you respect yourself enough to walk away from what is damaging your peace of mind. Ultimately, life is too short to spend in relationships that deplete us. If a relationship consistently drains you rather than strengthens you, it is time to step back and ask yourself, is this helping me grow? Is this bringing me peace? Is this in alignment with the person I want to be? If the answer is no, then the wise and courageous choice is to let go. Freedom is essential to a healthy relationship. A relationship should never feel like a prison. Instead, it should be a space where both individuals can grow, express themselves, and pursue their personal goals without fear or restriction. If you feel trapped rather than free, it is a clear sign that something is wrong. Feeling trapped can take many forms. It may be emotional, where you feel obligated to stay despite being unhappy. It may be mental, where you are constantly second-guessing yourself, feeling controlled, or unable to make decisions without fear of how the other person will react. It may even be physical, where you feel isolated from friends, family, or opportunities that once brought you joy. A relationship built on love and respect allows both people to be their true selves. It does not demand that one person shrink to fit the expectations of the other. If you feel like you cannot express your thoughts, make choices freely, or pursue your ambitions without guilt or conflict, then the relationship is limiting you rather than supporting you. Stoicism teaches us that our highest duty is to live according to reason and virtue. If a relationship forces you to betray your values, compromise your self-respect, or abandon your dreams, it is no longer a relationship, it is a cage. No external attachment should hold more power over you than your own sense of purpose and integrity. Some people stay in relationships because they fear change, loneliness, or the unknown, but staying in a situation where you feel trapped is not true loyalty, it is self-betrayal. A relationship should enhance your life, not confine it. Ask yourself, do I feel like I have the freedom to be who I truly am in this relationship? Can I grow, evolve, and make choices that align with my happiness and values? If the answer is no, then it is time to acknowledge that you are not where you should be. True love does not chain you, it sets you free. Respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Without it, there can be no trust, no security, and no true connection. Boundaries, time, and values are three essential areas where respect must be present. If someone repeatedly disregards these, it is a clear sign that they do not belong in your life. Boundaries exist to protect your well-being. They define what you are willing to accept and what you are. A person who respects you will honor your limits, whether they relate to personal space, emotional needs, or how you wish to be treated. But if someone constantly crosses those boundaries, ignoring your feelings, pushing you into situations that make you uncomfortable, or making you feel guilty for setting limits, then they do not value your needs. Time is one of the most precious things you have. A person who truly cares about you will respect it. They will not make you feel like an afterthought, cancel on you repeatedly, or waste your energy with mind games. When someone does not value your time, it is often a sign that they take you for granted. Stoicism teaches us that time is the one resource we can never get back. Why spend it on someone who does not appreciate it? Your values define who you are. They are your guiding principles, shaping the way you live and the choices you make. If someone belittles your beliefs, mocks your goals, or pressures you to compromise your integrity, they are not respecting your core identity. A relationship should support your growth, not force you to sacrifice what is most important to you. Respect is not something you should have to fight for. If a person continuously disregards your boundaries, disrespects your time, or challenges your values in a way that undermines you, they are showing you that they do not truly care. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot control. You cannot force someone to respect you, but you can control whether or not you allow them to stay in your life. Letting go of someone who does not respect you is not a loss. It is a gain of self-respect, peace, and space for the right people to enter your life.
Communication is the foundation of any strong relationship. When issues arise, the healthiest response is to address them openly, honestly, and respectfully. A relationship should be a space where both people feel heard and understood. However, if you have communicated your concerns repeatedly and nothing changes, it is a sign that the other person is either unwilling or unable to meet your needs. At that point, the wisest course of action is to accept reality. A person who values you will take your concerns seriously. They will listen, reflect, and make a genuine effort to adjust their behavior. Change may not happen overnight, but there should be clear signs of effort and progress. If, despite your patience and repeated conversations, the same issues persist, it means that words alone are not enough. The reality is that some people do not want to change, and others are simply incapable of it. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. You can control your words, your actions, and the way you express your concerns, but you cannot control whether another person chooses to listen, understand, or change. Holding on to the hope that someone will change when they have shown no willingness to do so only leads to frustration and suffering. It is natural to want to believe in the potential of a relationship, but potential means nothing without action. If someone consistently disregards your concerns, it is not because they did not hear you, it is because they do not prioritize your needs. At some point, continuing to hope for change becomes an act of self-betrayal. Acceptance is not giving up. It is choosing peace over illusion. It is recognizing that no amount of pleading, waiting, or hoping will transform someone who does not wish to change. When you accept reality, you free yourself from the cycle of disappointment and open the door to healthier relationships built on mutual respect and effort. Ask yourself, how many times have I expressed my concerns? Have I seen any meaningful effort toward change? Am I staying in this relationship because of what it is, or because of what I wish it could be? If the answer is that you are holding on to a fantasy rather than facing the truth, then the Stoic choice is to let go. Accept reality. Do not chase change in others. Focus on the things you can control, including your own peace, happiness, and future. A relationship should be built on love, respect, and mutual growth, not fear, comfort, or obligation. If these are the only reasons you are staying, it is time to take an honest look at your true motives. Fear can take many forms. You may fear loneliness, uncertainty, or the pain of letting go. You may worry about how others will react, or how you will manage without this person in your life. But fear is not a good foundation for any relationship. Stoicism teaches us that fear clouds our judgment and keeps us stuck in situations that no longer serve us. True strength comes from facing our fears, not allowing them to dictate our choices. Comfort is another powerful trap. A long-term relationship, even an unhealthy one, can feel familiar and safe. You may have routines, shared responsibilities, or a history together. Walking away means stepping into the unknown, and the mind often resists uncertainty. However, staying in a stagnant or toxic relationship just because it feels comfortable is not a valid reason to remain. Growth only happens when we are willing to step outside of our comfort zone. Obligation is often tied to guilt. You may feel that you owe this person something because of time invested, sacrifices made, or promises given. Perhaps you worry about hurting them or disappointing others. But obligation should not keep you trapped in a relationship that is harming your well-being. A true relationship is a choice, not a duty. If you are only staying because you feel you have to, rather than because you truly want to, then you are not in a relationship, you are in a contract of emotional debt. Stoicism reminds us that we must act according to reason, not emotion. Ask yourself, am I staying because I genuinely want to, or because I am afraid to leave? Am I making decisions based on my highest values, or am I letting fear and comfort dictate my life? If I were not afraid, comfortable, or feeling obligated, would I still choose to be in this relationship? The truth is, no one benefits from a relationship built on fear, comfort, or duty. Not you, and not the other person. If you are staying for the wrong reasons, then both of you are being denied the chance to find relationships that are truly fulfilling. Have the courage to examine your motives honestly. If you find that fear, comfort, or obligation are the only things holding you in place, then it is time to make a decision based on wisdom, not weakness. Walking away is not selfish, it is an act of self-respect. It is choosing to live a life of authenticity rather than one dictated by fear. A relationship should never require you to sacrifice your self-respect, dignity, or principles. These are the core elements of who you are, your moral compass, your sense of worth, and your guiding values. If being with someone forces you to compromise these, it is not a true relationship, It is a gradual erosion of your identity. Self-respect means valuing yourself enough to set boundaries, to walk away from mistreatment, and to demand the same love and care that you give. When you constantly tolerate disrespect, broken promises, or emotional neglect, you are teaching the other person, and yourself, that your feelings and needs do not matter. No relationship is worth losing your sense of self-worth. Dignity is about maintaining your inner strength and self-respect, even in difficult situations. A healthy relationship should uplift you, not make you feel small, ashamed, or powerless. If you find yourself justifying behavior that belittles you, accepting apologies without real change, or staying silent to avoid conflict, you are slowly losing the dignity that defines you. Principles are the foundation of a virtuous life. They shape your decisions, your character, and your integrity. A relationship that demands you to compromise your values, whether through dishonesty, betrayal of trust, or moral concessions, is a relationship that is forcing you to betray yourself. No love should require you to abandon what you stand for. Stoicism teaches us that external things, relationships, status, or even love, are secondary to our inner character. What truly matters is whether we are living in alignment with our values. If a relationship is pulling you away from the person you strive to be, it is not a relationship worth keeping. Ask yourself, am I proud of who I am in this relationship, or do I feel like I am losing myself? Do I have to accept things that go against my values, just to keep the peace? Would I advise a loved one to stay in a relationship where they are compromising their self-respect and dignity? If you have to become someone else to maintain a relationship, it is not love, it is self-abandonment, and no relationship should ever come at the cost of losing yourself. The Stoic choice is to honor your worth, protect your dignity, and walk away from anything that requires you to sacrifice the essence of who you are. A healthy relationship should be a source of joy, companionship, and support. It should bring more light than darkness, more peace than chaos, and more love than resentment. Every relationship has challenges, but when pain outweighs happiness, when conflict overshadows harmony, and when resentment replaces gratitude, it is no longer sustainable. Pain in a relationship can take many forms: constant arguments, emotional neglect, broken trust, or repeated disappointments. While occasional disagreements are natural, a relationship that is defined by persistent hurt rather than healing is a relationship that drains rather than nourishes. If you find yourself in a cycle of emotional turmoil, always feeling anxious or unhappy, it is time to question whether staying is truly worth it. Conflict is inevitable in any relationship, but it should lead to growth, understanding, and resolution, not endless fighting, manipulation, or toxicity. If disagreements never get resolved, if the same issues keep resurfacing, or if communication is filled with criticism and blame instead of empathy and respect, then the relationship is more destructive than supportive. A partnership should feel like a safe place, not a battlefield. Resentment builds when needs go unmet, when wounds go unhealed, and when one or both people feel unappreciated. Love thrives on gratitude and mutual effort, but when appreciation fades, when you feel unseen, unheard, or undervalued, the connection weakens. If you feel more bitterness than warmth toward your partner, it is a sign that something fundamental is broken. Stoicism teaches us to seek balance, peace, and rationality in all aspects of life. A relationship that causes constant suffering rather than joy is not in alignment with a life of virtue and inner tranquility. We must have the courage to evaluate whether the relationship adds to our well-being or diminishes it. Ask yourself, do I feel more sadness than happiness in this relationship? Is conflict the norm rather than the exception? Do I feel unappreciated or emotionally exhausted more often than fulfilled? If the answers point to an ongoing pattern of pain, conflict, and resentment, then it is time to accept that the relationship is not sustainable. A connection that consistently harms rather than heals is not love. It is attachment to something that no longer serves you. The wise choice is to let go and make space for peace, for healing, and for the possibility of something better. A healthy relationship is built on mutual effort, shared investment, and emotional support. It requires both people to contribute, to show up for each other, and to nurture the connection. When one person gives while the other takes, the relationship becomes unbalanced, unfair, and ultimately unsustainable. Effort is what keeps a relationship alive. It is shown through time spent together, thoughtful gestures, open communication, and the willingness to work through difficulties. If you find yourself constantly initiating conversations, making plans, or trying to fix problems while the other person remains passive or indifferent, then the relationship is one-sided. A relationship should not feel like a burden that only you are carrying. Investment goes beyond just time. It includes emotional energy, commitment, and care. A relationship should not feel like a business deal where only one person is making deposits while the other simply benefits. Both partners should be equally invested in maintaining the connection. If you are the only one making sacrifices, compromising, or putting in the work to keep things together, then you are not in a partnership. You are in a situation where your effort is being taken for granted. Emotional support is one of the most crucial aspects of any relationship. You should feel like you have a safe space where you can express your thoughts, share your struggles, and receive encouragement. If you are always there to lift the other person up, but they are absent when you need them, the imbalance becomes painfully clear. Love is not just about receiving, it is about showing up for each other in both the good and bad times. Stoicism teaches us to recognize what is within our control. You cannot force someone to care, to try, or to match your effort. What you can control is whether you choose to remain in a relationship that drains you, rather than fulfills you. A relationship should be a two-way street, not a one-way effort, where you are the only one giving, while the other person passively receives. Ask yourself, am I the only one making an effort to maintain this relationship? Does this person show the same level of investment and care that I do? When I need support, do they show up for me, or am I left feeling alone? If the answers reveal an ongoing pattern of imbalance, then it is time to acknowledge the truth. A one-sided relationship is not a real partnership. It is not your job to convince someone to put in effort, to fight for you, or to care. The right person will show up willingly, meet you halfway, and reciprocate the love and effort you give. If that is not happening, then the wisest and most self-respecting choice is to let go. A relationship should enhance who you are, not erase you. It should be a space where you can be your true self, express your thoughts, and live according to your values. But if you find that, over time, you have lost your identity, your voice, or your sense of purpose, then the cost of staying has already been greater than the loss of the relationship itself. Losing yourself in a relationship can happen slowly, almost without realizing it. It starts with small compromises, changing your opinions to avoid conflict, silencing your needs to keep the peace, or adjusting your behavior to fit someone else's expectations. Over time, these small sacrifices add up, and before you know it, you are no longer the person you once were. If you find yourself constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to express your true feelings, or feeling like you must shrink yourself to be accepted, then the relationship has taken more from you than it has given. Love should not come at the cost of your authenticity. You should never have to dim your light, just to make someone else comfortable. Stoicism teaches us the importance of self-awareness and self-mastery. A fulfilling life is one where we remain true to our principles, our character, and our purpose. If a relationship forces you to abandon these things, it is no longer a relationship. It is a slow erosion of who you are. No love is worth the sacrifice of your identity. Ask yourself, have I changed in ways that do not feel true to who I am? Do I recognize the person I have become, or do I feel like a stranger to myself? Am I staying in this relationship out of love, or because I am afraid of what I have already lost? If being in the relationship means losing yourself, then you have already lost something far more valuable than the relationship itself. The right relationship will never demand that you become someone you are not. The strongest love is one that allows you to be fully, unapologetically yourself. If you are no longer you, then the only way forward is to let go and reclaim the person you were meant to be. A healthy relationship should support your growth, encourage self-improvement, and align with your greater purpose. It should be like a sail that helps you move forward, not an anchor that keeps you stuck in place. If you find that a relationship is preventing you from evolving into the best version of yourself, then it is not a partnership, it is a limitation. Growth is a natural part of life. You are meant to learn, expand your horizons, and challenge yourself to become wiser, stronger, and more fulfilled. A good relationship nurtures this process. It provides encouragement, inspiration, and a shared vision for a better future. But if your relationship discourages growth, if it makes you feel stagnant, limits your potential, or forces you to suppress your ambitions, then it is no longer serving you. Self-improvement requires space to reflect, evolve, and pursue the things that make you better, whether it is personal development, education, fitness, or emotional well-being. A partner should motivate and support your journey. If instead they mock your aspirations, resist change, or make you feel guilty for wanting more, then they are not a source of support, but a source of resistance. Your purpose is what gives meaning to your life. It is the thing that drives you, fulfills you, and gives you a sense of contribution to the world. A strong relationship aligns with your purpose, helping you stay focused and determined. But if you feel that your relationship is pulling you away from your true calling, whether through emotional distractions, unnecessary drama, or direct opposition to your goals, then it is acting as an obstacle rather than a guide. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our mindset, and our pursuit of virtue. If a relationship is interfering with your ability to live according to your highest values and potential, then it is time to reevaluate whether it truly belongs in your life. Ask yourself, does this relationship support my growth, or does it hold me back? Am I becoming a better version of myself, or am I stuck in the same place? Is my purpose in life thriving alongside this relationship, or is it fading because of it? If the relationship feels more like an anchor than a sail, then the choice is clear. True love does not restrain, it empowers. The right person will encourage you to chase your dreams, evolve, and fulfill your highest purpose. If a relationship is preventing that, then letting go is not just a choice. It is a necessity for your own self-mastery and fulfillment. One of the biggest traps in relationships is holding on to the hope that someone will change, instead of accepting them as they are. This hope keeps people stuck in unhealthy situations, constantly waiting for a future that never arrives. But Stoicism teaches us to see reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. If you are staying in a relationship because of what you hope the other person will become, rather than who they are today, then you are not in love with them. You are in love with an illusion. People can grow and evolve, but only if they choose to. Change cannot be forced. No amount of patience, effort, or love will transform someone who does not want to change. If they have repeatedly shown the same patterns of behavior, whether it is lack of commitment, emotional unavailability, disrespect, or toxic habits, then it is time to believe their actions instead of their promises. Waiting for someone to change means sacrificing your present for a future that may never come. It means enduring unhappiness today in the hope of happiness tomorrow. But what if tomorrow never comes? What if years go by and nothing changes? The hard truth is that you cannot build a lasting relationship based on potential. A real connection is based on what exists now, not on a fantasy of what might be. Stoicism reminds us to accept what is within our control. You can control your own standards, your own choices, and your own actions, but you cannot control another person's willingness to change. Accepting someone as they are does not mean tolerating behavior that hurts you. It means recognizing who they truly are and deciding whether that aligns with what you want and deserve. Ask yourself, am I in love with this person as they are, or with the version of them I wish they would become? Have I been waiting for change that never seems to come? If this person never changed at all, would I still choose to stay? If the answer reveals that you are holding on to potential rather than reality, then it is time to let go. Love should not be a project, a rescue mission, or a waiting game. The right person for you is not someone you need to fix or transform. They are someone who is already capable of meeting you where you are. Choosing to walk away is not giving up. It is choosing to live in truth rather than illusion. When a relationship is healthy and fulfilling, you do not feel the need to justify staying. It simply makes sense. It feels right. You feel secure, valued, and at peace with your decision to be with that person. However, when a relationship is no longer serving you, when it is draining rather than nourishing you, you often find yourself searching for reasons to stay, convincing yourself, and sometimes others, that the relationship is worth it. But needing to justify why you are still there is often a clear sign that you should not be. Justification usually happens when deep down, you know something is wrong, but you are not yet ready to face it. You might tell yourself that no relationship is perfect, or that things will get better with time. You may focus on the good memories, hoping they outweigh the present reality. You might remind yourself of how much time, energy, or love you have already invested, fearing that leaving would mean losing everything you have put in. But these justifications are not signs of love, they are signs of doubt. If you catch yourself frequently explaining to friends, family, or even to yourself why you are still in the relationship, that is a red flag. True love does not require constant defense. A strong relationship does not need endless explanations. It simply feels right in your heart and mind. If you are always making excuses for your partner's behavior, minimizing your unhappiness, or rationalizing why you are enduring mistreatment or dissatisfaction, then you are not in a fulfilling relationship. You are in a situation you are trying to justify. Stoicism teaches us to face reality with courage and clarity. It encourages us to remove emotional illusions and accept things as they truly are. If you have to convince yourself that staying is the right choice, then deep down, you already know it is not. Ask yourself, am I explaining to others why I stay because I need reassurance, or because I genuinely believe in the relationship? Do I feel at peace in this relationship, or do I constantly have to remind myself why I should stay? If I were advising a friend in my position, would I tell them to stay or to walk away? If your relationship were truly healthy and right for you, it would not require so much justification. The fact that you feel the need to defend it is a sign that something is off. The strongest relationships do not need excuses. They stand on their own, because they bring mutual joy, respect and growth. If you are justifying rather than simply knowing it is right, then it may be time to let go and choose the peace and clarity you truly deserve. Respect is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Without it, there is no trust, no security, and no genuine love. When someone repeatedly disrespects you or causes you harm, emotionally, physically, or mentally, it is not something to tolerate, justify, or hope will change. It is something to walk away from. Emotional harm can come in many forms: constant criticism, manipulation, gaslighting, dismissing your feelings, or making you feel unworthy. If someone repeatedly invalidates your emotions, controls your actions, or plays mind games, they are not showing love. They are exerting power over you. Love should never make you feel small, unheard, or like you have to constantly prove your worth. Physical harm is never acceptable under any circumstances. No apology, no promise, no moment of remorse can erase the fact that someone who truly loves and respects you would never lay a hand on you in anger. If someone crosses this line, There is no justification to stay. Love should make you feel safe, not afraid. No relationship is worth sacrificing your physical safety or well-being. Mental harm can be subtle yet deeply damaging. If being with someone constantly fills you with anxiety, self-doubt or depression, if you feel trapped or unable to be yourself, then the relationship is toxic. A healthy partnership should bring you peace, not turmoil. If someone's presence in your life is harming your mental health, it is a clear sign that you need to distance yourself. Stoicism teaches us to value ourselves and not tolerate what is beneath our worth. It reminds us that suffering in silence is not strength, and enduring mistreatment is not love. It is self-betrayal. The moment you allow disrespect to continue, you are sending a message that your boundaries do not matter, but they do matter. You do matter. Ask yourself, am I excusing behavior that I know is wrong? Have I set boundaries, only to have them repeatedly ignored? Do I feel safe, valued, and at peace in this relationship, or do I feel anxious, hurt, or afraid? If someone continuously disrespects or harms you, you do not need to endure it, fix it, or prove your worth to them. You need to leave. True love is built on mutual respect, care, and kindness. Anything less than that is not love. It is a lesson to walk away. True happiness comes from within. When your sense of self-worth, confidence, and joy depend entirely on someone else's validation, you are not in love. You are in a dangerous attachment. Love should complement your happiness, not be the sole source of it. When you rely on someone else to make you feel valued, seen, or worthy, you give them control over your emotions, your confidence, and ultimately your life. This kind of attachment creates an unhealthy dynamic. You may find yourself constantly seeking their approval, adjusting your behavior to please them, or fearing that without their validation, you are not enough. You might feel anxious when they pull away, desperate for reassurance, or afraid of losing them because, deep down, you believe that without them you are incomplete. But this is not love, this is dependence. A healthy relationship involves two whole individuals who support and uplift each other, not two people where one depends on the other for their sense of worth. If your mood, self-esteem, or overall happiness rise and fall based on how they treat you, how much attention they give you, or how they perceive you, then you are trapped in an emotional imbalance. The moment their validation fades, your happiness crumbles, and that is a dangerous place to be. Stoicism teaches that our well-being should not be dictated by external factors, including the approval of others. True strength lies in developing inner confidence, in knowing your worth independent of anyone else's opinion. A person's love should be something you appreciate, not something you depend on for survival. Ask yourself, do I feel anxious or unworthy when they do not give me attention or validation? Am I afraid to be alone because I do not know how to feel happy on my own? Have I lost my sense of identity outside of this relationship? If your happiness is tied to their validation, it is time to step back and reclaim your sense of self. Love should not make you feel powerless, it should empower you. The right relationship is one where you feel valued, but do not need validation to feel whole. True love is not about losing yourself in someone else, it is about growing together while remaining complete within yourself. Deep down, you always know the truth. Your intuition, that quiet voice inside, has likely been telling you for some time that it is time to leave. But often, fear, attachment and hope cloud your judgment, making it difficult to act on what you already know. The longer you ignore your inner wisdom, the more you suffer. Your intuition is not just a fleeting thought, it is the sum of all your experiences, emotions and observations. It is the feeling of unease when something does not sit right. The heaviness in your chest when you realize you are unhappy, and the exhaustion from constantly trying to make something work that just is not meant to. When you silence this inner knowing, you delay the inevitable, prolonging your own pain. Leaving a relationship is never easy, especially when you have invested time, love, and energy. But staying in a situation that is no longer right for you out of fear or comfort is not love, it is self-betrayal. The longer you stay in a relationship that no longer serves you, the more you lose touch with yourself. You begin to doubt your worth, question your instincts, and settle for less than you deserve. Stoicism teaches us to accept reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. The reality is, if you have been feeling unhappy, unfulfilled or drained in your relationship, and despite all efforts, nothing has changed, then it is time to trust yourself. You do not need permission from anyone else to walk away. The only approval you need is your own. Ask yourself, have I been ignoring my own feelings because I am afraid of change? Do I feel relief when I imagine being free from this relationship? If a friend were in my situation, what advice would I give them? If your inner wisdom has been telling you it is time to leave, listen, trust yourself. You are stronger than you think, and you are capable of walking away from anything that no longer serves you. The right path is not always the easiest, but it is always the one that leads to freedom, peace, and self-respect. Walking away is never easy, but it is often necessary. Letting go does not mean we are unkind. It means we value ourselves enough to choose peace over pain. It means we understand that some people are meant to be part of our journey, but not our entire story. As Stoics, we do not let emotions control our decisions. We use reason, wisdom, and virtue to guide us. And when we recognize that a relationship no longer aligns with who we are, we must have the courage to walk away with grace, knowing that every ending is also a new beginning.